Okay, here's another edition of the Flood House. Today we're putting in windows. We just put in a couple of windows here, just to kind of get the hang of it. But now we're going to put in one more of the last window, which is a slider in this opening here. So I'll show you how we prepare the opening. Of course, we've already got a rough opening, but I'll show you how we prepare the opening with weather stripping, with a window sill to protect the house from water, and the installation of the window. Okay, the first step, we've got the waterproofing membrane on the outside. So what I'm going to do is find the opening of the window, and I'll cut it at the top all the way across. And I'll find the bottom of it, and what I'll do is I'll cut a diagonal up from the bottom, and then I'll cut it over horizontally. That's what the directions say to do. And I'll find the opposite corner over here and do the same thing. Cut a diagonal up, out of the way anyway. Now I got a flap that goes on the bottom of the window sill, the flashing to protect it from water, and I'll cut right down the middle. I'll grab a staple gun, wherever it is. Oh, here it is. Grab a staple gun and staple the house wrap out of the way. On both sides. And I'll staple this where the flashing goes. I'll end up cutting that off. And then I'll just cut the excess off. And that is my wire for the security alarm, but I got plenty. So I cut it a little bit, but that's not a problem. Now I'll cut the rest of this off. Okay, now we put a sloped piece of wood. This is treated wood, and what I'm doing is I'm putting a little strip. I've got a little strip of it's barely 1/8 of an inch piece of wood across the back side. So what I do now is I put this board over the 2x4, the window opening, so it'll act as a sloped edge in case any water gets inside the window or around the edge of the window. It is sloped toward the outside, so the water will bleed or follow the lowest path and go toward the outside of the house. At least that's the plan. So when I nail this in, I'll nail this in and then put the house wrap over top of this. And then I'll put the window wrap on top of the house wrap. Okay, now I got my homemade flashing wood strip down, and you can probably see it's tilted toward the outside of the house. So what I'll do now is I'll pull the house wrap over. Over the flashing. I'll staple it just to hold it in place. And then to create a waterproof seal, I'll put the window wrap over the flashing. That completes the homemade flashing. Now this stuff is 9 inches in width. It's probably a little bit long for it's 2x4 wall, so it's a little long, a little wide rather. But what I'll do is I go from one edge. Never used this stuff before, but I'll go from one edge. You're supposed to come up about 10 inches on either side, but I found out already you got to stuff this corner in there very tightly, because otherwise when you put the window in, it's gonna cut into the aluminum, and I don't think it cuts into the rubber, but it definitely cuts into the aluminum. So I want to make sure that corner's nice and tight. Now I'll seal it. I've seen some videos people use a roller to seal it. I haven't been using a roller. I just peel it out and lay it down and push it in. So pulling the backing off of it now, the white backing, kind of get it straightened and lined up. Make sure I got enough overlap on the outside, so if any water gets in the window or around the window, it's going to go down to the window wrap and fall over the outside edge. So now I'll pull the rest of the backing off, the paper backing, and I'll do the opposite corner. That's not a real tight fit on the house wrap, but not really necessary to have a tight fit. It's got to be watertight. Not too much on that side, but so it could be better insulation, but it's probably good enough. I'll cut the corner, fold it over. Cut the corner on the inside and outside. And cut the corner here. Fold that over. Now what I'll have to do here, still got siding on the outside here. And I'll come in and staple the ends of the window wrap just to make sure it doesn't move or start coming unraveled. And obviously I'll have to fix this. What I'll do is I'll pull the siding off, pull the siding back, and wrap the window wrap on the other side of that. And what we'll probably do is, and then we'll stick the nailing fin in the window. We'll just stick it in here, and then we'll nail it later. Now this is the last step we'll put in the window. We had to really shave down the rust opening to get this thing to fit. So this was the last window, and it was the hardest window. And to complicate matters, we got this siding up here. On the other windows we didn't have the siding, but this window we had the siding, so that fits better. We had to put a nailing strip all the way around the window too, which is underneath the house wrap, so you're not going to see it, but we put 3/8 plywood around the perimeter of the window because of this old siding, old wood siding, and then they've got vinyl siding on top of that. So that fits pretty good. That's good. Yeah, it's up against there, so we're okay. That fits better. Put a couple of nails in it to hold it in place. Okay, I'll put one here.
Check inside.
Yeah, we'll check inside, but it looks good from here. It fits better than it did before. So let me go look inside. So that's nice and even across that 1x12. That looks better. And it's in. And it slides okay. So we're in good shape. So that looks a lot better than plywood that we had there before. So that finishes the installation of the picture window, a living room window that we got. So I'll see you next time on the flood house. One last thing I forgot to mention, and I forgot to when I was nailing it up, is that the house wrap goes over the top nailing flange. So I accidentally nailed it right here, but I'm going to pull this house wrap over the nailing flange on the window, and then I'll put a window wrap around the perimeter of the window, except on the bottom. They recommend leaving the bottom open in case any water trickles down here. It'll be able to escape no problem. If there's window wrap here on the bottom, on the exterior, on the outside of the nailing flange, the water can't escape. But I'll cut this siding back and put window wrap all the way around. That's it. See you next time.